session, you all, for now at least, concluded your investigation of Argynvost. Uh, Initially, you were pushed back by a number of ghostly residents, and determining that maybe it would be best to attempt a diplomatic method of approaching the situation, you, I don't want to say disguised yourselves, but presented yourselves as a visiting delegation of like-minded fellows. You met Vladimir Horngard, the current commander of the Order of the Silver Dragon that still resides in Argynvost. Although he was not particularly receptive to your intent of destroying Strahd. In fact, he swore he would do everything to stop you from doing that, insisting that both he and Strahd must suffer together in eternity for the crimes that Strahd has committed. Irvir was able to somewhat change his mind in a sense, and insisted that, well, the small folk are innocent. Perhaps we could evacuate all of them, and then you and Strahd can be miserable together for eternity. Vladimir told you he wouldn't stop you in this endeavor, but he also won't assist you in any way. But yes, it seems he dismissed any further attempts at negotiation or discussion and told you to leave immediately, which you did. Currently, you find yourselves winding back down the mountainous road that leads either to Valaki or Kresk, sort of your choice at this moment. Uh, Although, as you reach this fork, Savid, who you had rescued from Argynvost Holt, would kind of stop and fidget at the crossroads. Um, you've all been very helpful, and I do owe you quite a bit. But if I don't get back, I think Casimir is probably going to tan my hide even more than he was already intending to. Uh, if it's any consolation, I can pass along some of the questions you all had, and he'll have answers ready for you next time you make your way back to Valaki. Uh, but especially since there's not that long until nightfall, it probably is best for me to get back. But you see, he's like waiting for permission. He did say he would help you.
Also, Horngard told us to get lizard bones.
Yes, to recover. Well, lizard is a bit of a word, but yes, to recover Argynvost's remains from the crypts under Ravenloft.
I mean, I'm down for this dude going. I mean, how is he helping us anyways?
I want my arrows back
Tanked a
when I
couple
see
hits
you
and
again.
saved Irina.
Yeah, he did.
I was gonna say, he took a shot that would have killed Irina.
Yeah. And he kind of like.
So he saved us 300 gold, is what he did.
True. He considers, and he looks down the road and checks the height of the sun. And he will hand you back all but one Ayakabachi.
No, he can keep him until I meet him again. He's gonna need him in case he gets jumped. I don't want you to go around with just one. You'll probably just miss anyway. So just keep him, and I'll get him back from you anyway. I'll get him back from you later.
He gives you this look like, huh? Fine then. Thanks.
Ask him if he's sure he'll make it all right on his own.
Traveling the road and during the day, I wouldn't think it's a problem. I was cornered far too distant from town after nightfall last time. Thankfully, the local wildlife's not quite as dangerous as long as the sun's up. And he just kind of shrugs. You know, he is juvenile, but he is, he's been around for a century and then some.
He's going to report back to who?
Casimir, the head of the Dusk Elves.
Okay, the divination guy. I don't have anything particular for him. Not that I can think of right now.
You guys had asked a couple history-oriented questions that he'll have answers for next time.
Okay.
History-oriented, some counter-divination.
Yes, and some stuff like specifically about the beacon and what Argynvost was like back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
like the actual conflict with Strahd and the Order, all that stuff that he said Casimir would know, but he didn't.
And maybe he might know some things about some divination magic to help us when we're sleeping with interdimensional hacks trying to ruin our day. Maybe he might know something about how to
Yeah,
help us with that.
that had come up too. And as a reminder, Von Richten had mentioned there is a thing he can do, but it is too expensive to do in multiple places. You'll kind of need to pick a safe spot that you plan to sleep most of the time, but he can ward a room. Um, but yeah, not a bad idea to look into that as well. A better way to detect the hags is probably wise. But yeah, Savid will give you all, some brief parting thanks and all of that, and promises that it's likely Casimir will have some sort of reward for making sure he made it out of there safe. But as you saw, his supplies at the moment are rather low, so he can't give you anything yet. But wishes you luck in your travels, and moves at a pretty good clip as he heads back towards Valaki. Like at a jog, but you can tell he's, well, he's got that elven swiftness. His move speed is a little bit higher than your guys, so he trots off down the road. Um, but yeah, I guess Von Richten would put it to the group. Kresk then?
Yeah, I want to get some more information about that abbey. Maybe have Webward do a little bit of scouting in that area.
Yeah, seems like not a bad idea. Yeah, in that case, you guys head towards Kresk. Let me give a little traveling roll here. Looks like for now, things seem pretty quiet. You've traveled this stretch of road before. Um, it is, as ever, foggy and miserable, but as you make your way toward Kresk, nothing seems to, whoops, forgot to hold Alt. Nothing seems to disturb you. You do eventually come to this fork of the Raven River off of Lake Baratok. Um, and as you tromp over the bridge, there's again that kind of awkward fidgeting, and you can see Von Richten glance out over the misty waters of the lake. But he doesn't linger long, maybe just like a missed step or two, and then shakes his head and follows. But slowly the altitude starts to rise as you pass there, and you wind your way back up towards Kresk. And just I will read the description again of the front gate just to kind of remind you. The road branches north and climbs a rocky hill, ending in a gatehouse built into a 20-foot high wall of stone, reinforced with buttresses every 50 feet or so. The wall encloses a settlement on the side of a snow-dusted mountain spur. Beyond the wall, you see the tops of snow-covered pines and thin white wisps of smoke. The somber toll of a bell comes from a stone abbey that clings to the mountainside high above the settlement. The steady chime is inviting, a welcome change from the deathly silence and oppressive fog to which you have grown so accustomed. But yeah, you could also see a switchback road that seems to cling to the cliff that would lead up to the abbey. As you approach, last time, and the air here, as a reminder, is quite chilly. It's a sharp increase in altitude and also seems almost unnaturally cold here. But the guards were not particularly quick to welcome you into these massive gates. And you can see the town name emblazoned above them. But as you walk up, one of the guards leans over, kind of takes in your group, and ah, you have finally arrived. The abbot asked that you be allowed passage into the city. Please approach. And the doors, with a heavy groan, begin to swing open before you.
Look at that. Finally getting some damn respect around here.
I think Von Richten shoots you a sidelong glance, Ervir, and then a glance up and around. You two were the ones that noticed the scrying detector a while ago, and he seems to be kind of indicating someone else maybe was watching. But he shrugs and kind of gently ushers Irina into the gates.
Irvia has pretty much the same thought and just mirrors it.
Mm-hmm. The mist-shrouded village beyond the wall is nothing more than a scattering of humble wooden cottages along dirt roads that stretch between stands of snow-dusted pine trees. So many trees, in fact, as to constitute a forest. To the northeast, gray cliffs rise sharply, and the road winding up to the abbey is easy to see from this vantage point. There is a map of Kresk proper, but it is not fully to scale, but this will still give you guys an idea. Can you see this clearly, or do I need to turn off dynamic
Yes.
lighting?
No,
Okay.
that looks good.
See it very clearly.
You guys would find yourself at the southern gate. You can drop yourselves down, and we'll treat that your character locations. Oh, you're big. But still, we'll treat
Oh,
like general location.
And the
In
abbey is
case
like
you guys want
over
to split
off
up.
this way, or is this the abbey?
That is the abbey, but it is set several hundred feet up
I
the
can
cliff.
see. Yeah, it's got this like long winding
Mhm.
path. Okay.
Yep. So let me double check the actual map because it does show me. So, yes, each of those ticked markers, that kind of the little like pointy lines, are showing an additional 100 feet of climb. So you are about 400 feet above like the level of the valley when you start in Kresk, and it climbs all the way up to 700 feet above the valley at the start of the abbey, and up from there even.
Right.
Yeah, and this like, oh yeah, it shows actually. I didn't even see that was visible on the map. But yeah, so the village kind of spreads out before you. You've been here briefly before, and you kind of remember everybody has that sort of slightly glassy look in their eye, but they all have a pleasant smile on their face, and everybody seemed, if not welcoming, at least rather polite last time you were here. Is there anything you would like to do in the village, or are you going to just hurry on up there? You could, of course, wander, information gather, whatever you'd like, but it didn't seem that they really sell much here. This is kind of a commune more than anything. They make what they need and not a lot of extra. Could always get a meal too, I suppose.
Yeah, it looks
But
like
yeah.
there's not a whole lot of area to be chilling. So
Nope.
unless someone wants to do some chilling or find someone specific to maybe get some information what they think about the abbey before. I mean, we might just get some cultist ass answers. But eventually,
Right.
Yagobachi, I think using these trees as some type of like cover to climb up this hill and get closer, so get Webward in there and kind of get an idea of what's going on in there before we just. I mean, we could make that trek the long way, but I was thinking maybe get some information on. This is pretty trekkery trek here.
It doesn't seem to be to scale. It does say a square
I'm
is
gonna
50
say,
feet.
if that's 700 feet up, can Webward make that trek
Well,
from
that's
the
the thing.
tree?
I would go
He
up there,
can, but
and then I
Ayakobachi
would
can't. Yeah.
exactly. So I would be climbing up there with him, getting all the way to the wall, and then sending him in, finding a place nearby with like maybe somewhere I can hide while he's doing the recon, and then I'm just looking through his eyes. I'd have to go up there by myself because obviously you guys aren't going to be able to climb all that distance. So I'll be a spider, so it'll be easy for me.
That's true.
It just take time because it's like I gotta go up there.
Are you voicing that to the group?
Yeah, I'll kind of when we get time when we're kind of by ourselves, I'll voice out what.
Yeah.
that
As
idea.
you're kind of let in, there's Not really anybody that like sticks on you. The guards kind of offer you a little nod, vaguely gesture towards the path up to the cliff, and then turn back to watching the road as the gates close behind you. And yeah, there's not a huge population here, so it's not horribly crowded. I think at any given time, people are at a pretty respectable distance. Valaki's a little crowded, like walking the streets during the day. And when I say crowded, I don't mean like a modern city, but like at any given point, there's a small group of people within 50 or so feet. Here it's more like, 100 feet off might be the nearest random person at any given time, unless you seek out other people.
Well,
Um,
I'll just kind of mention that Yakubachi will say something like, we learned that abbey used to be a hospital or an orphanage, and the fortune teller told us that there's a great holy symbol there of sickness and madness. So I think it only makes sense while we're here. We don't get to be here very often to spend some time to see if that has any meaning, or maybe it's just we're completely wrong and it's not the place at all. But I'd like to spend some time investigating that abbey or spending time learning about it while we're here, seeing that we don't get to come here often.
The abbot invited us into the city. I assume that means we would be invited to meet the abbot, who would presumably reside at the abbey.
If that
Sounds like we could just walk in.
that actually kind of makes a lot of sense. We could easily do that as well. I'm just naturally so used to sneaking everywhere.
It's a church. How bad could it be?
There's some pretty bad churches out there.
um,
I mean, there was
Uh,
that
I
church in
think
Barovia where
Irina-
we got attacked, and
yeah. There was certainly some troubling noises coming from it last time. But who knows whether or not that was the monastery itself, or if maybe the sick ward is still operational.
Plague house?
Well, that would track with the so-called prophecy, wouldn't it? A place where sickness and madness are bred? Hmm.
Bread feels like they're making the sickness there. I don't like that.
She kind of taps her chin. It seems to me that it probably is wise to ensure that we take this opportunity to meet with the Baron, or not Baron, the Abbot. I don't much like that he knew we were coming, though.
No, don't like that. And as a gentle reminder to everybody, don't expect great miracles from me for the rest of the day.
Well, as long as you're by my side in battle, that's the only miracle I need.
Yeah, friendship.
There is one thing at least to be said, which is that if anything horrible is here, hopefully it's at least the targeted sort of horrible. The people don't seem too bothered. Everything's behind a rather high wall. Hopefully this is a reasonably safe place.
We were invited in. Wonder if that means we can spend the night here. I don't think they have an inn.
Maybe the
Doubtful, but
my bad. Go ahead.
oh no, it's just some sort of accommodations are undoubtedly a thing we can locate. But as far as an inn, well, they don't really like visitors. Go ahead, Akabachi, you were going to say.
I was gonna say maybe the abbey is the inn.
That would certainly be my first preference. On the off chance that that's not a safe location to sleep, probably just camp out amongst some of these trees out here, within the walls.
That is true.
That's a
It's
worst
cold
case
as fuck,
scenario.
but you guys do have bedrolls and stuff. You could build a fire. Like, it'd be rough, but you could do it.
And what if we need a flask of endless water? Because then we could make a steam heater with the instant thermos.
We would have hot cocoa thanks to Ralmir's teapot.
We
it
just
is
like
worth-
open it up a little bit and just like let the hot steam waft out like a humidifier.
It is worth mentioning again on that note. The lake here is a little unusual. It is warm and seemingly carbonated, for lack of a better word. But
Spicy
also
water.
seemed to be related to the townsfolk and their rather blissed out expressions.
These motherfuckers are high.
No wonder they're not terrified of anything.
I'd have to go back in my notes, but I know we detected magic on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I don't
You
remember what I
discovered
got out of it,
that
though.
it is magical. You didn't get like a clear specific effect, other than that you suspected that it was probably restorative in one way or another, and that it read to you as holy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I remembered divinity out of it.
Yes. And distinctly of a positive nature.
Possibly Abbott related.
Possibly. Um.
So
Well.
maybe something to ask them.
Yeah, and I think on that note, like Von Richten clearly is down to go about this however you guys would like. But there's obvious caution there, and I think Irina, you don't see any sense of like real hesitation in her. She's kind of like you were earlier, like it's a church. How bad could it be? But yeah, I think you kind of slowly at least start to move through the town. Did you want to peel off Ayakabachi?
No, I'll stick with the group. Like
Okay.
like Irvir said, they knew we were coming, so being sneaky might not be the best option.
That's fair.
Right, they're watching us right now for all we know.
Right? They knew we were coming, so they're gonna, they know there's 4 of us. I'm not even gonna. I was thinking
Well,
about maybe turning into like a small animal, but
Hmm,
I'm just gonna go with the group because they know we're coming.
that's fair.
Element of surprise
Um,
isn't as good as it could have been, so.
mhm.
But it's good information. Now we know. River made a good point.
You don't make a habit of breaking into dinner parties you were invited to? That's my method of showing up.
Right? I like being a
Through
spider.
the second floor window. Fuck the front door.
Right? Just be a bug on somebody's shoulder and just fucking pop out mid battle. What the fuck?
Mhm.
I know what they
as-
invited.
Right. As you guys kind of pass through the village, just into like this sort of initial, sort of, I guess for lack of a better term, this is like their town square. You do notice that the large home that's kind of right here, clearly the Burgomaster's residence, just given like the fact that it is fancier than the rest and has like an elevated porch with a rather tramped down spot around the outside. Like he addresses the town from this place fairly regularly. You see that the building is hung with black drapery, mourning, you would assume. And this is different since you were last here a couple days ago. And I think you would all know that would be typical of loss of a family member, announcing it to the town in such a way. And Irina just kind of, without even commenting, will just kind of clasp her hands in prayer very briefly and bow her head in the direction of the house and move along. Unfortunately, loss is very common in Barovia. But again, this kind of, you can see Von Richten's wheels turning, but he doesn't comment loudly. People are here and there, though, leaving small gifts, like up atop the steps, to help the family through this trying time. And I think, give me a insight or perception, as you guys would all prefer. We'll make it a group check.
Have a gift to give. Unless they want 4 square feet of burlap.
What a random thing.
Mm.
Okay.
That rolls.
Yeah. It's 19.
So, since I did ask for a group check, Kobachi and Irvir both make it. I think probably through a combination of different aspects there, right? So, Irvir, I feel like you'd be watching more.
I have the same score on my perception and insight, so it didn't really matter which one I
Oh,
rolled.
not just that. I just mean what I think the characters would be looking at. I have a feeling Irvir would paying more attention to like the impact the death seems to have had on the people in terms of like their well-being. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ayakobachi, but the death of an animal and how its pack reacts can show you openings as well, one would think.
Hell yeah.
And that seems to be more like what you'd probably approach that with. Am I crazy?
No, it's perfect.
So I think what you see here with that insight is fear in the people. Not in the sense that, like, something swooped down and killed someone, but, like, you sense the feeling that, like, there is an issue with the pack now. There is something missing. The people are worried when they talk amongst each other about, like, you catch snatches of, well, what about the lineage? Like, who will carry it on? And from that, you catch, it must have been the heir that died. That now the Burgomaster, and you know the name from last time. Literally, it was Dmitry Kreskov and his wife Anna. They did have one child remaining, but they were not young. So that is a noble house that will leave a big hole in this town when they finally pass. And Irvir, I think what you get is that the people, yes, they're afraid, but there is also an undercurrent here. You catch a couple of like the middle-aged men grouping and having a brief conversation and constantly catching glances back at the house. You know, while their spouses seem to go and leave a gift, they tend to kind of, you know, a little bit of cross-armed conspiratorial low hushed conversation. And what you pick up on, though you don't hear any names, is more of a sentiment of somebody will have to replace him. It's an opportunity for elevated station, isn't it?
Conspiracies.
And that all sounds right like a cult.
So, that seems to have been a development since you were last here.
If only they weren't dicks to us when we were here, I might have been able to help. Assuming the kid was sick.
Yeah, I don't think you saw
Nope.
him.
I don't even think
And
they mentioned their son to us.
They did not, but you would have, as you all kind of like pay attention to the crowd, I think you would catch the name Ilya, and get the context that this is the last of their 4 children, and all 4 of them did die of an illness of some sort. But I don't think people would be talking too openly about what that was.
Lineage base cursed. Damn shame.
The inbreeding.
Could be.
Packs do
Also
that
could
sometimes.
be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys are just going to kind of wind your way through and up the road?
Yeah.
Okay. The switchback road that hugs the cliff is 10 feet wide and covered with loose gravel and chunks of broken rock. The ascent is slow and somewhat treacherous, and the air grows even colder as one nears the top. As you all move up the road, I will point out that you consistently hear, like it's quiet at first, but as you near like the top switchback or two, there's almost like it's animal-like chittering, like a pack of foxes arguing, or like hyenas, quietly cackling. It's an odd mix of mismatched animal noises that you start to hear in short bursts. And as you hear more and more of it, it almost feels like, for lack of a better descriptor, an argument, like a burst of noise and then a pause, then a burst of noise in response, like a conversation back and forth. But it gets real loud and then it stops for a short while and then it picks up again and kind of rises to an angry tone and then stops again.
Yeah, I want to definitely see if they're
Um,
trying to recognize any type of animal or what that might
Yeah,
be.
go ahead and give me a nature roll.
So without too much RP, I'm going to leave a stick of incense on the door. It's not much, but that's what Revere has to give.
No, I think that's certainly a nice gift. Lit, unlit,
Unlit.
unlit.
Otherwise,
Okay,
it'll just burn out. No one will smell it.
fair enough. But ceremonial incense, like obviously high
Yeah.
quality stuff. Yeah.
And I don't know if this can help me in any way, but if it can, I'll take it.
Let's see. Specifically beasts, right? Let me
Yeah.
double check something. Although I think even if it doesn't work, you might learn something here. Let me double check what the typing is here. Okay. That's a pretty good roll. And I think you catch distinct noises, or cries is probably the more accurate term here. There are wolf-like growls and snarls. There's a distinct sound of a donkey mixed in there.
Hee-haw.
A strangely like reptilian or lizardy hiss. You're pretty sure, though it's way bigger and way deeper pitched, you recognize, similar to like the sounds, the chirps and squeaks that bats make, and also similarly oversized and deeper than you would expect, rat or mouse-like noises as well. But you're not able to decipher anything that seems to be actual animalistic speech, which you would expect to be able to do so.
Yakobachi will turn to the group and say, the beasts, they speak a language I can't understand. Might be more like those ravens we encountered earlier. Just be prepared. And don't let your eyes
That
fool
is
you.
possible. But yeah, let's move you onto the approach here at least. I don't know how the lighting's gonna work here, but we'll adjust as necessary. Can you see my ping
Yeah,
near the bottom? Go ahead
drop
and
there.
drop yourselves approximately there. Okay, looks like you still have vision.
Yep. Holy shit.
Yeah, this is a
Um,
real fucking big map, and these are 10-foot squares again.
Good lord.
Let's
Yeah,
actually just like
that's
more do this to save a little bit of time, unless there's anything you would like to do as you are like a ways back.
Teach Irina how to disengage.
She was getting rocked, and there was a stone wall to her back, and
That's why she
going
needs to learn how to
down-
disengage.
Fair. Speaking of which, I need to grab them.
We'll find 2 sticks, and I'll poke at her on the trail.
Please, no poking the NPC. Where are you?
Run away from the pokes!
And then also,
If
what
there's
do
something
you-
blocking one way, run the other way.
Sometimes the healers gotta do other shit. Do not try to 1v1 the Ghost Man
Don't do
until
it.
you have class levels.
But yes, let's see. You would. Let me reorganize my screen a little bit. No, no, also no. Fine, whatever. Then we need this. And then this is fine. Somehow I got my screen to do columns of 3, and now it won't do it again, but this'll work. Okay. As you wind your way up the last of this, and it has been icy and slippery, there are some stupid time-wasting checks that can make you fall prone but don't do any damage, so I'm just going to clarify that this is treacherous indeed, but not so treacherous that you risk falling off the side. More just, nobody shuffles this pathway, and it does snow here fairly frequently. So you're kind of trudging through ankle-deep snow, and there's ice underneath and all of that. But as you round this final turn, you see that the road from the village climbs above the mists to a wide ledge on which the abbey is perched. A light dusting of snow covers the trees and rocky earth. The gravel road ahead passes between 2 small stone outbuildings, to either side of which stretches a 5-foot-high, 3-foot-thick wall of jumbled stones held together with mortar. And there's a little bit more as you approach closer, but I will leave that to you if there's anything you'd like to do in advance. It seems that the noises, which do continue, primarily come from somewhere far to the northeast of you. But every so often from an area a little bit closer, you hear a less severe yip or squeak. But the bulk of the noise seems to be coming from the other wing of the building.
Well, I'm
But
gonna
yes.
keep an eye out for any animals watching us, but I'll let someone else knock on the door.
Fair enough. I'm just going to move them up, but I will let you guys make the first approach. But yes, so it is kind of like middle of the afternoon, but the reason that we're going with the low lighting here is that the clouds are low, the fog is thick. It's pretty gray up here, even though it is kind of still vaguely light. But Ervir, as you round that corner, you see that blocking the road through these 2 buildings is a heavy iron gate attached to the outbuildings by rusty hinges. It appears to be unlocked, like
In
with the
front of
main...
me?
Yes, in between those 2 buildings.
Okay, these are
Because
2
you can see
buildings.
like
Gotcha.
yes, you can see like an open padlock.
Like stops at the wall. It's like I don't know what's what.
Can you not see anything?
Like I can see the pathway, but like I cannot see that this is a building or that this is a
Oh.
building. Like it's just a black square.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. Yeah, so those are like small, I think like gatehouse, just 10 by 10.
Gotcha.
Or 20 by 10. No, you know,
So I
10
remember
by
that
10.
there were like 2 buildings on the bigger map of Kresk, so that's how I was trying to figure out where
Yeah,
those 2
and-
buildings were.
That's so.
After
This
we
is
walk in, I
weirdly.
think.
Yes, after you walk in. Let me give you the map of Crest because you could kind of see the shape of the abbey. One moment.
Yeah, it's got like an outer like guardhouse thing, and then it leads into 2 buildings inside walls.
Yes. So I don't like the way that this worked out. Why can't I show this to you? Areas of Kresk, show to players. So you should not be able to read the GM notes. You should be able to see the image.
Yeah.
This
Gatehouse
is
area
rotated. Yes, this is rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise.
Right. So like it's that top
and
part up there, and then yeah,
I see.
it's like an
so
inner
yes,
courtyard.
the left-hand building is still the left-hand building here, but it goes up
Whoop. Yeah.
rather than going to the side. And stupidly, so this map is oriented like this, and then the map of the second floor is oriented back in the other orientation again.
Makes perfect
I
sense.
guess for the
perfect.
purpose of confusing everyone as much as possible.
Right. Why wouldn't you do it any other way?
On the bottom left even shows the gatehouse.
Isn't that look?
Yep.
That's fine. It's exactly. Yeah, it's dope. They probably all look like that.
Oh yeah, that's the one at the bottom. That's two.
Yeah, but I'm sure these ones look, the
Yeah.
same architectural.
Which building has the bell?
The bell you would think would be above the close side.
The one the smaller one that's not too wide, the single wide.
Yes,
Yeah.
the single wide.
Single
The double
big.
wide, you can assume, yes, you can assume even just from seeing it from below, the single wide looks more like a chapel, like the
Yeah.
actual part of the building that would have been used for worship, and perhaps for where the monks would have lived. The other end is what you would assume was the hospital. It's kind of a low, squat
Yeah.
building that has numerous small windows, as though there are several smaller rooms inside. But yes, again, between these two little gatehouse buildings, there's an unlocked gate. And viewed through the gates, the stone abbey stands quiet. Its two wings are joined by a 15-foot high curtain wall, and a belfry protrudes from the rooftop of the closer north wing, which also sports a chimney that is currently billowing gray smoke. And by curtain wall, I mean basically think like a large arched wall that has a couple of cutouts that you can pass through. But yeah, a unlocked but closed iron gate stands in front of you.
Do we knock?
We can just announce ourselves like last time, right? That's polite. I've never done that before.
Seem polite, but we're here to address an abbot, not a knightly order. I would think manners are a bit different in this circumstance.
But also, an abbey should be open to all.
You'd think. It's awfully high up.
And we've been
Oh,
really,
try to open the gate.
yeah, we've been good at the whole vampires got to be invited thing. So just walking in might be a good thing.
Right.
That is a
True.
fair point. Okay, so you open the gate. Click. No, I'm just kidding. As you push the gate open, there's like a heavy squeal of these rusted old hinges that echoes out across the courtyard. And you hear from that far building, there's just a kind of like low murmur of all these mixed animal sounds. But are you gonna just like step further into the courtyard, or
Yeah, give me
Yeah.
more description.
yeah? As you move in, first off to your right, you can see that stunted pine trees grow out of the rocky earth in this graveyard near the foundation of the abbey's north wing. The windows of the structure are cracked panes of leaded glass. Ancient gravestones burst from within a thin crust of snow in the yard. Beyond the low wall that surrounds the graveyard, the ground falls away. The village lies 400 feet below, and the view is breathtaking. But
Ooh.
behind you, in the gatehouses, you hear an immediate snort from both as something starts awake, like a snuffle and a but the doesn't sound entirely human, and two voices, almost in sync, call out, "Who goes there?" But the voice sounds raspy and strange, and two figures poke their heads out. I'm gonna need to show you these guys, but let me give you a description.
Yeah, them icons look crazy.
Meet Otto,
That's not the moblin I thought he was going to be.
and also meet Siegfried.
Now that is a pair right there.
So,
We're not much better.
They don't strike like an aggressive pose. More, if anything, Otto in particular, again, like obviously very canine features, kind of cocks his head like a dog, and you can see there's like more curiosity on his face. And Siegfried does strike a similar pose to the art there, kind of like closing themselves off, but looking at you curiously more than aggressively. And you can see the two of them are both kind of like blearily blinking off some sleep. And I think, yeah, just like the who goes there, they'll wait a beat, see if you guys react or say anything, but you can see Otto kind of itching to talk.
Not missing a beat, Irviel. Offer a bow before anything else.
You see him kind of like study the movement and like attempt to get it right, but he's like far too hunchbacked and twisted to like get a proper smooth bow. But he looks at you almost for approval, like, did I do it right? You can see in his eyes.
If it's that
The
easy
answer
to
is
spot,
no, but he tried.
if it's
Yes.
that easy to spot that that's what he's looking for, Irviel smile and nod.
And he like big toothy grin, almost like a dog like panting as like the, you know, nonverbal approval sort of hits there. And you must be visitors then. The abbot said that you would be coming. What were the names, Siegfried? And then Siegfried kind of, again, almost more like bird-like in the movements, kind of studies you up and down. This one, Erfir. Yes?
That is I, Irviel Hollowbrook.
I am Siegfried. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, I think. And I'm Otto. Please, with us, the master will be waiting. And he takes off kind of like in a four-limbed, like loping jog ahead. Siegfried moves in a much more like jerky, starty motion, one leg up forward, then the other follows. Think kind of like a crane or even a flamingo, like how they kind of move very determinedly. And you can see Rictavio in the back just like, what the fuck? Like, he doesn't say it, but there's like a clear... and he kind of like makes sure Irina is right next to him and slightly behind him, but he will follow. And Otto will like jog ahead a little bit and then wait to see that you're following and then jog ahead a little bit. But Siegfried will clearly want to bring up the rear.
Racist ass Octavio.
Just cautious, I think.
Yeah.
But
This
also
is
he is a
weird.
racist old man. But yeah, Otto will lead you over to the gate. We'll just kind of move them into further back position. I assume you guys will kind of gather around.
Yep.
A 15-foot high curtain wall joins the abbey's two wings. Behind its battlements, two guards stand at attention. Their features obscured by the fog. Below them, set into the wall, is a pair of 10-foot tall wooden doors reinforced with bands of steel. To the right of these doors, mounted on the wall, is a tarnished copper plaque reading, "May her light cure all illness." And underneath, the Abbey of St. Markovia. And I think all of you have a passive perception higher than 10.
Yeah.
I think so. All right,
As you move, yeah, you're the only one that I think might
Yeah.
not.
You said the light of
Yeah.
what?
May her light cure all illness. And given that the name of the abbey is the Abbey of St. Markovia, you would assume they're referring to St. Markovia.
Cool.
But yes, all of you, passive perception higher than 10, you recognize that it is clear upon getting a little closer. The guards are literally scarecrows that have corroded chainmail and rusty spears just kind of like propped against them with a like shitty metal bucket helm shoved over the head. And they obviously do not move at all as you approach. But they're stood up on the battlements where, like, from a distance you might mistake them as actual people. And then Otto will head up and just like kind of start pushing on one door. And Siegfried will awkwardly and carefully like kind of squeeze through the group. And then, no, remember, first you must undo the latch. And reaches out and will actually like turn one of the big ring pulls, and you hear a click. And then Otto, right. And they will both push the doors open, making room for you. Okay, yes, we'll enable that. We'll open. And they will guide you inside and sort of gesture welcomingly. Here in the courtyard, the thick fog that fills the courtyard swirls as the doors are thrown open, as if eager to escape. It is surrounded by a 15-foot high curtain wall. Well, you've heard about that. Let's see. Wooden doors to the north and east lead to the abbey's two wings. In the center of the courtyard is a stone well fitted with an iron winch to which a rope and bucket are attached. Along the perimeter, tucked under the overhanging wall, are several stone sheds with padlocked wooden doors, as well as 3 shallow alcoves that contain wooden troughs. 2 wooden posts pounded into the rocky earth have iron rings bolted to them, and chained to one of them is a short humanoid with bat wings and spider mandibles. And after a brief moment, the quiet is shattered by horrible screaming coming from these 3 sheds. The bat-looking figure, and I should note, both Otto and Siegfried are short, like under 5 feet tall. And this figure is also quite small, but as the screaming starts, she, you guess, flaps into the air and attempts to fly away, but rapidly is stopped by about 15 feet of iron chain, which forces her to just kind of like flap in an awkward circle before she collapses back to the ground with a, oof, and just kind of like lays there in a heap panting. And you see Siegfried like briefly looks and then looks away, and Otto just shakes his head sadly. Morzina is easily excitable. Please don't mind her.
As long as she's okay.
There is a bit of a groan from both of them. As okay as any of us may be. With a bit of a sullen sag of the shoulders from Siegfried.
You said she was on a chain.
Yes, clearly chained up. And again, there is no specific art for all of them, but the description for Marcina, yes, she has like leathery bat wings instead of arms. And though most of her skin is fairly human looking, the lower part of her face is very spider-like, and she has large mandibles. And you can see that her torso, though she doesn't wear any clothes, is just covered in fur. And yeah, again, she flies, tries to get away, circles a couple times, and then crashes back to the ground, out of energy. Otto will, after a beat of quiet, just sort of mutter, better than we once were, at least.
What did you used to be?
Yeah, what do you mean? What at once were?
Siegfried kind of twitches and considers. Well, we once were dead. Living is better.
Don't argue that logic. Yeah, that makes sense.
Rictavio will like awkwardly just without even asking step up and kind of like reach under Otto's chin and just like make eye contact and kind of turn his head and like look at the disparate pieces. And Otto like takes this like a dog would, just like, hey, someone's petting me, and like there's a like kind of big doofy grin on his face. But as he kind of is studied, Rictavio looks back at the group and I wouldn't even know where to begin. There are no stitches or seams. Necromancy, fleshcraft. He has a pulse.
Flashing eyes of the grave to make sure. 60
Only
feet
effective on
undead.
visible targets, correct?
Yes, as long as they're not behind total cover.
Okay. Everything within sight is alive, including Siegfried and Otto and Marcina.
They're certainly alive.
How long were you guys dead for?
Hard to say. Time's
Yeah, memory's
not
probably fuzzy while you were dead.
easy to track. And
Are the people screaming in there? Were they dead too?
most, yes, though it's hard. You see, not everything comes back, and what does is not always pleasant. Some are less able to handle the switch. And some, well, they wish it weren't so.
I have more questions for this Abbott character. The more we're here.
And at the mention of the abbot, Otto kind of like perks up a little bit, and Rictavio just like pulls his hand back, and you see him like wipe it off on his jerkin. You will like the abbot. He's an excellent master and a wonderful host. He asked that we bring you to him. We shouldn't be delaying. This way, please. And Otto also kind of lopes off ahead. Not getting wide. He lopes
It's
off ahead
forgettifying.
towards these doors.
He said not everyone's made for it. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's just malfunctions.
Sometimes you just become wide,
Wide
and there's
boy.
nothing you can do about it. But yeah, he will head over to the door.
So he has stretchy powers.
Yes. Yeah. Octavio kind of studying Siegfried as they move. But again, these two, I will note, obviously, pretty terrifying in appearance, but neither one of them has made any, like, hustle move in any way towards you guys. If anything, they seem more curious than anything. And Otto is just happy for company. That much is as plain to see as possible on his face. And the little nub of a tail that he has is wagging pretty much constantly. If anything, Siegfried maybe seems about as afraid of you as you may be of them. But Otto will fumble with the door handle, and you can see he has something between paws and hands that is not as effective at manipulating a standard door handle as it might be. But he will push the door open and step aside, gesturing for you all to go first.
Yeah, I guess I'd say Yakobachi's inner monologue is like, Valar works in mysterious ways, and if these abominations are part of his evolutionary will to survive, then so be it. Who am I to question,
And then with his, how he said he had like a little nub though, so did they crop his tail too?
You're not really sure. It's so much. I mean, it's under his pants, but it's hard to say whether or not it's a cropped tail or a weirdly extended human spine.
Okay. That was my takeaway out of this whole thing.
I
Um,
don't know if I like the new tokens we're looking at.
so there is not direct art for them, which I find very upsetting. But let me give you a description of this room. Gentle sounding music trickles down from above, played on a single stringed instrument by some unseen master musician. The ground floor is one large 50-foot square room with arched leaded glass windows. A cauldron sits on an iron rack above a fire in the hearth, while above the fireplace mantel hangs a golden disc engraved with the symbol of the sun. In one corner, a wooden staircase climbs up to an upper level, while in another, the staircase descends downward into darkness. Down above you and up below you on the map. Several chairs surround a wooden table that stretches nearly the length of the room. Wooden dishware and gold candelabras are neatly arranged on the tables, standing behind which is a young woman with alabaster skin dressed in a torn and soiled red gown. Her auburn hair is neatly bundled so as not to touch her soft shoulders. She seems lost in her own thoughts, staring into space. Next to her, a handsome young man in a brown monk's robe gently takes the woman by her hand. A painted wooden holy symbol that depicts the sun hangs from a chain around his neck. He moves with the subtle and smooth grace of a saint. As you walk into the room, he turns to look at you and has an honest to goodness saintly glow behind his head, like straight up aura of light halo, and he smiles softly. It is so wonderful that you have finally made your way here. I've been hoping to speak to you for some time now. Would you please come, sit, enjoy a meal with me? We have much to discuss. And an
Uh,
interesting note, his voice sounds like it's coming from right next to you, despite him speaking seemingly at a low volume from across the room. And even being directly in line of sight from the door, I think it's pretty clear that Siegfried would, like, not bow, but kind of look down in deference, and Otto, after peeking around the door frame, does the same. And are you going to filter into the room, or
Yes, Narlug is
Yes.
definitely grabbing a free meal.
fair enough?
So good.
Um,
I'll come with them.
but yes, he would also call out, Siegfried, Otto, wonderfully done. Thank you both. You may have the rest of the day off. Do whatever it is that makes you happy. And as the last of you filter into the room and find seats at the table, I think he would absently wave a hand and the door will softly shut. We'll do this.
I was gonna say I don't want Irina sitting on her own.
No, 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 no.
Divine or never mind. We'll keep going for now.
But yes, the abbot regards you all with a warm smile, and actually will turn and he himself will serve food from the large stew pot that's kind of boiling over the fire, ladling into a tray with bowls and then placing them around the table. He doesn't say much for the first minute or two, just patiently and quietly making a point of serving each of you. And once the food has been doled out, which smells phenomenal, Kresk actually has livestock, so there's like beef in this stew, not wolf meat. There is fresh baked bread. Um, that actually seems to include like eggs and dairy products more than just flour and water. Simple food, but probably very welcome. Like seasoned well, hearty, nourishing, and it all smells lovely.
Just
But
a level of
he,
comfort we haven't had in a week.
yes. But after everyone has been served, um, you would see him just kind of sit and place his elbows on the table, place his fingertips together.
Obo Romir and Yakubachi, we gotta say grace.
Oh,
And though it is not any lengthy prayer or anything, that's exactly what he does. We who are gathered here together give thanks to the Morning Lord for this nourishing meal. May it give us strength to persevere, so that we may live to see another dawn. And he opens his eyes, puts his hands down, and smiles warmly. I do hope the journey was not too arduous. I know that the roads can be rather difficult this time of year, but I am so heartened to finally see you all. And you will notice that he did not serve any food for this woman, but she does sit at the table and kind of anxiously picks up cutlery and seems to be studying what you're all doing.
Said shit, alabaster skin?
Very, very pale.
Mm.
How pale?
Like actually, well, okay, first of all, like doll white, but she is very
Like
clearly like
bloodless?
close to it, but she's also very clearly been like powdered and makeup and like the whole thing. And as mentioned, she's dressed in a very fine like red silk gown, but it's seen better days. And she hasn't spoken yet, but her eyes kind of track between each of you, studying all of your small movements, and seeing you look at her. Please do not mind Vasilka. She is, well, new to all of this. I thought perhaps this would be an educational experience for her. Go ahead and give me perception checks, I suppose.
yeah.
In particular, Ervir and Ayakobachi have a potential to see some extra stuff, but everybody has a chance for... Okay. Rolmir, I think you might be a little bit too distracted by how expensive everything on the table setting is, but I think the rest of you would all notice there is a distinct resemblance to Irina here. While Irina has a much darker skin tone, the actual facial structure is like almost strikingly similar. A sibling or very close relative is kind of how you would clock it. But there's no like sign of recognition in Irina's face at all.
You also used
Ayako,
auburn for the hair descriptor, which is too
Mhm.
specific to not be a coincidence.
Right. And also Ervir and Ayakobachi, you do both hit the 20 you needed. As you study her closer, Ervir, you can see how
I
is
do
this
not have advantage.
phrased?
I am only a 19.
Oh, I see. Let's see. So in that case, Ayakobachi would spot. Uh, doo, 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 doo. There are fine seams in her powdered skin. Odd patches across the neck, across the face, edge of an ear, that look to you like extraordinarily fine needlework.
Independent of that, this was coming anyway. We're looking eyes at the grave again.
Okay.
Which does not have any verbal, somatic, or any components at all whatsoever.
Interesting.
It's not a spell.
Can you link it? I'm
I
curious exactly
open my
what it is.
awareness.
Yes. Let's see. Presence of the undead, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I was more curious about, yes, the opening of the awareness. So first of all, you do not detect undead here. But as you kind of look at her and activate this ability, you see the abbot's attention turns to you with a very faint and pleasant smile. But that halo, as you kind of like try and see, is blinding all of a sudden. And what you get from him is like radiating divine energy. Like a high order celestial energy from him. But to your eyes, she does not appear to be undead.
Figured she'd probably be like Otto. So I didn't expect a clocker as undead. But you never know.
No, I don't blame you for checking. Anytime in fantasy someone is described as being unnaturally pale,
Yeah.
especially in a setting with vampires, it is
Unnaturally
a logical
pale
conclusion.
in vampire land with
Yes.
seams around their faces. But hey, flesh crafting, guess you're not technically undead.
Yes. But yes, he smiles softly at you, Urfir. And just without acknowledging anything that just happened above the table, as it were, I wish to thank you for being so gracious to young Siegfried and Otto. I know their appearances can be unsettling, and I know they have their own difficulties with communication, but you acted kindly to them, and for that, I am grateful. They are such troubled people. And he sighs and shakes his head a little bit. And whether or not you're all eating, he will take a spoonful of the stew. And again, very smooth, leveled motion. Takes a bite and reaches for a little bit of bread, breaks it off.
Like before I eat any of
Mhm.
it, though, I kind of want to do an like kind of try to see if I could see like anything peculiar about the food.
Sure. Go ahead and give me an investigation.
Well,
Oh, the duality of man. No advantage there, right? Just the nat one.
yeah, it's that one.
Okay. Again, even on a nat one, I mean, you hit a DC 5. To you, like, no, nothing stands out as like bad. But you are, I think, struck by the fact that like this is a very, very fancy room, a very, very fancy place setting, and you're being served very basic food. Which is not quite what you would expect in terms of a match between the dinner and the dining room, as it were. But I don't know whether or not you'd have any idea if there was anything unusual about the food itself.
It's still fancy food compared to Valaki.
It is. But to someone from the outside world, this is like good quality and very fresh, but tavern food, and you are in a gold candlestick dining room with a gigantic wagon wheel sized golden sun medallion on the room behind him. But yeah, he just again thanks you and then takes a bite of his food, but seems to be waiting.
We're
Since
certainly
nobody's
grateful
really
for your
addressed him.
hospitality.
I think, well, every good man should strive to provide hospitality, especially to such honored guests.
Mm,
What makes us so honored?
Well, a number of things, of course. Not only are you from so very far away, but already I understand you've had quite a significant impact on the residents of Barovia. Many spirits uplifted, as it were.
Doing our best, but it's quite an uphill battle.
Indeed it is, and not just to reach my front door.
He'll probably smirk at that. Shitty joke, but I got him.
It is so rare these days, you know. Seeing anybody who seeks to change the status quo. I've long been one who believes that a nudge here, a prod there, well, a small snowball at the top of a hill is quite a large boulder by the time it reaches the bottom. And though she doesn't speak, you see Vasilka watching him, and her mouth like shapes the word snowball. Kind of, she thinks. I think Rictavia would speak up. Well, seems to me, if I'm being honest, a bit of a, well, more of a poke and a prod. I'm assuming you're responsible for the state of the gatekeepers. And the abbot would look down the table at him, very blank expression on his face. Well, responsible is an interesting word. Yes, I suppose I am responsible, both for bringing them back and for ensuring their continued well-being. Unfortunately, I think you would understand why they must remain here, and why they cannot be set loose back into the world. Not yet, anyway. And I think it's obvious Rictavio, like, is in a foul mood as he kind of leans forward. Not yet. What? Need more of them for what you've got planned? What I've got planned? All I have planned is, well, giving people new life when they've lost the first one they were given. Sure, there are difficulties with the process, but, well, young Otto was buried for near 100 years. Certainly seems in good health for one dead so long. And just under his breath, Rictavio muttered, "Eh, some excuse for good health."
That's
Irina
his
would
same
just
soul. Irvy's immediately jumping in on that shit.
like,
You're going into theology, and he wants in.
fair enough. Irina will like place a hand on Rictavio's and just like give him a shut the fuck up look out the side of his, her eye. Most of it, yes. Things are unusual here, as you may have heard. The mists trap more than the flesh, and yet, given enough time, well, pieces go missing, I'm afraid. And thus, holes must be patched, spiritual and physical. Sadly, my process has not yet been refined to a point where I would like it to be, and there are still quirks.
I need to double check the spell level for True Resurrection.
9?
Oh, I think so.
It's got a hefty component too. But there's one that's like reincarnate, which would make sense.
It's a 9th level spell. Yeah, I thought there was another one between.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's normal resurrection.
I think
What we got
reincarnate's
here?
another one. I think it's like level 5 or something.
Reincarnate's lower than regular resurrection. I think it's 4.
You might be right. Yeah.
And cheaper, but you don't get to pick the shape you come back as.
Like a half dog man.
Cleric does not have reincarnate.
No, that's druid.
What,
Yeah, so resurrection is a 7th level spell,
Mhm.
which still requires 1,000 GP diamond.
Yep.
And true res, oh, 25,000. Oh, yeah.
Holy
All
shit.
right.
But
hefty.
notice the other things about it though. True resurrection. There's a timer on each of those res spells, and there's also how much of the body has to be left.
Not for true res.
Right, but for resurrection, it has to be within what, the last 10 years or something.
Yeah, reincarnate's 10 days.
Yep.
They all
And
have something like
revivify
that.
is 1 minute.
Yeah. So true is just like, hey, 1,000 years or some shit. It's crazy. It's super long.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like there's
Who
a
the
time
hair-
limit.
Who the hell has?
Or no more than a century.
What is it?
So it's still 100 years.
What, Akbaji?
No, I'm gonna look it up. I got you. A soft, greasy substance. That's a lubricant. Okay, cool.
Oh, you were wondering what the
Some lube?
material component was?
$1,000 worth of lubes and oils, and I can reincarnate you.
Ah. You need that Amazon 50-gallon drum of lube.
No wonder Diddy had so much. All right, get back to it.
But yes, I think immediately, Irvir, you clock like, this is, I mean, it's not a true res, right? Or he would have come back perfectly fine.
Right.
But-
And it's not a normal res either, otherwise he would have come back fine.
Right, but also
So it's something that I can't do ever.
correct, but also the number of voices, in air quotes, you've heard, there must be so many.
Yeah, that's a lot more like Raise Dead than Resurrection.
And yet you know that Raised Dead doesn't bring things back to life, it brings them to unlife.
Yeah, and that also costs 500 gold.
Mm-hmm. But you
Yeah.
also, you did catch a blast of an interesting aura there. Certain things don't need components to cast these spells. If it were to be a spell-like ability,
Right. Using some divine energy.
mm-hmm.
Well, it's still not Resurrection.
Well, I want to ask
True.
this, because Yakubachi's
Yeah.
eating with his hands and just like sipping his soup because
Mhm.
he's a mongrel, and he's gonna be like, well, wipe his face, and I'll be like, what, was there, your boy, was your friend Otto, was he willing to come back, or was that something forced upon him?
An interesting philosophical question, I suppose. Willing to come back, yes. Though, I think you would be hard-pressed to find many deceased who do not wish for a second chance at life. Unfortunately, it is so difficult to explain to a soul that things may be different when they return.
It's a reincarnation cycle here.
Ah, you speak of the nature of Barovia itself.
Yes.
Certainly, yes. Though, Interestingly, there have been so many throughout the years that he shakes his head. Oh, dear Lord Strahd von Zarevich. And that's the first time you've seen anything but, like, open geniality on his face as he kind of rolls his eyes and grits his teeth as he says the name. Well, when he desires for one to spend an extra stretch of eternity bouncing between the mists, he can make it so. And thus, there are lost souls that need shepherding.
So, do you see yourself as a shepherd? Is why you turn them into half animals?
I think offended isn't quite the word that I would use to describe the look on his face, but almost like a confusion. No more than any abbot sees himself as a shepherd. Unfortunately, well, bestial nature of some of the components is necessary. Kresk well, it is a small town. There are only so many spare parts to go around.
Well said.
Yeah, it's like, well,
It is regrettable. Truly, please do not misunderstand me. Ah, I did not choose to leave them as they are, nor do I choose to bestow the troubles that their minds encounter when they return. I am simply attempting to give new life to those who have been pushed far from the Morning Lord's light. You see, in their graves, buried below ground, the sun cannot reach them. I bring them back. I give them a chance to serve him again. And a chance, well, at another life. My aims are pure, even if my method is not yet perfected.
You
And
met the Morning
Visoka
Lord?
again mutters along, perfected. Oh, have I met him? I'm afraid no. His grace is too great, even for one such as myself. But I have heard his call, as some do, with every sunrise, and I have followed his instructions to the letter.
I want to also, when he was being saying he had no malicious intent, I want to
Hmm.
see if he was being honest when he said that.
Okay,
Maybe
insight?
did he have a tell of some kind? He's pretty stone faced, but
yeah.
maybe he's got something that could give away some information.
I get the feeling that even if it was like a malevolent nature, he firmly believes that whatever he's doing is correct.
So that is quite the insight roll. And yes, I think that that's a pretty good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
What you get from him is unshakable conviction that what he is doing is the right thing.
Okay.
Whether or not that's true in an abstract sense, you don't know, but you can see plain as day on his face, he believes what he's saying. He's just trying to save them.
And I'll make a comment
Um,
about. Go ahead, Frank. Or
yeah.
Roland.
Another thing, how he said he got all of like the instructions like from like the Morning Lord. Um, I guess the insight check probably wouldn't help though, but that seems like if he just like actually that, or is that just something he believes?
Um, hmm.
I don't know if insight check would help with that though, because it would probably come out to be the same answer.
I was gonna say, I don't know if there's anything you can really
You can't really check to see if he's lying about that.
Yeah, but
No,
if
you
he's
can't.
convinced,
But I think even without an investigation roll, like, I mean, you have a very high bonus. You just spot immediately he's wearing the holy symbol. There's the gigantic sun medallion. This is an abbey to Saint Markovia, who revered the Morning Lord. This, like, if he doesn't believe it, he has certainly gone to great lengths to cover everything in a Morning Lord paint job. You know what I mean? Um, and again, there is uh, humble is maybe not the truest word for what he is. It's in his behavior. It's in the way he dresses. You know, there's a gigantic golden medallion on the wall, but he wears a simple wooden holy symbol and brown sackcloth monk's robes. But at a glance, you see he's at least walking the walk and talking the talk.
I would guess at least fair to say that the Morning Lord did not literally tell him go make dog people.
right?
As
Probably
far as
not.
divine revelation goes, that's probably him interpreting the sunrise.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask him if the Morning Lord also told him to do something to the water in the town, because it seemed a little different
Uh,
when I looked at it.
Ah, no. Though I have been here for a very long time, that miracle predates even my presence. That was Saint Markovia herself.
Hmm. What happened to her?
Unfortunately, she was beset upon by those who, regrettably, knew not what they did. A mob. A mob of faithful followers only hours before. They drowned her in that very lake, you see. But their minds, their hearts, they were clouded by our dark ruler on the hill.
From what I can tell, not dissimilar to St. Andrew.
He nods. Tragic tales, both. And oddly similar, you are correct. But you see, as you stated, here in Barovia, things do go in cycles, do they not?
How far apart were their lives?
He thinks. Oh, I would need to consult to give you a precise window. But
Absolute rough estimate.
Saint Markovia lived,
In a couple decades. I don't need anything even remotely accurate.
Markovia would have been nigh on 300 years ago when she fell. And Saint Andrew, well, that would have been maybe 90 or 100 years past. Shortly before I came to Barovia. Or shortly after. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Regrettably, I was not aware of her struggle, or I would have attempted to step in and change fate.
I want to ask the ghost in my head, with my head thoughts, if they're both the same person.
I want to ask the ghost in my head with my head thoughts.
That's right.
Well described.
Um, so you're asking Saint Andrel if she was Saint Markovia?
Yeah, she was like the same soul reincarnated.
Um, so as you kind of focus, um, I think, you kind of have to like slightly unfocus your attention around you in order to do so. Um,
Or if he's
and
doing a lot of thinking, it doesn't look strange.
yes, um, but you ask, and St. Andrew's voice, as faint as ever, as though she's whispering in your ear is how you hear it. Though I bear no memories of time as Saint Markovia, you are not the first theologian to guess such a thing. And it would be certainly suspicious how many similarities in our lives there were if such a thing had not been preordained. But
Or
as
not, like he's
Ervir
had a very significant
focusing,
breakthrough.
yeah, like you're thinking, but everybody else, I think, sees the abbot watching Ervir like a hawk as he goes quiet, and there is the briefest flicker of that golden light that surrounds him in that halo in his eyes as he watches Ervir. And I think as your attention comes back up, he's smiling widely at you. I see we have an esteemed guest.
It's not polite to eavesdrop.
No, I suppose not. But it is not, or is it not, an abbot's job to hear the concerns of those he surrounds himself with? All burdens are the abbot's burden to bear.
Surely when they share them with you.
Well, it's not as though I had to listen particularly hard.
What did they hear?
What did they hear?
Yeah, his point being that, like, you may not have, but to anyone else, that was presumed private.
Oh, I certainly didn't clarify anything that was discussed. I simply acknowledged that there are, shall we say, more occupied seats at this table than are immediately obvious. Surely you haven't been keeping secrets from your compatriots.
Hasn't come up.
Well, then I apologize. I meant no offense. When he sits back.
What about the shadow?
Interestingly, didn't remark on it.
Right? Stayed
At least
quiet.
half of us are body jacked.
Right.
Although, actually, I am curious. I had. No, I don't think that applies. I don't think the shadow would be freaking out in this room. Though I think Narlug, maybe if you're really paying attention, there's that lag again, where like it lines up with your movements,
Shoveling in,
but
and the shadow's
just
like
like
half a second behind.
yes, exactly. It's just like a couple frames out of sync with the rest of you. Um, Interestingly, if you are shoveling it in, you are really having trouble finding the bottom of this bowl.
Keeps going. Narlug's gonna love that. He's just smashing.
And it's good. I don't think I clarified, but yes, like wholesome, delicious, hearty, warms you against the cold. Just particularly good stew. Well, it
Abbott, with
seems.
all due
Go ahead.
respect, and no offense is meant truly, what are you?
He sighs.
I know the sight of divinity when I see it. And as much as is emanating off of you, if I wasn't as learned as I was, I might have even confused you for one of our deities.
It certainly could be something that, yes, a less learned man might make as a mistake. What am I? In some senses, just a man attempting to do good. But in others, and he would kind of crack his neck and stand. And as he does, you see like two images kind of overlaid in a blurry fashion. One is this just sort of unremarkable, seemingly relatively young man, human by appearances, that just said he showed up 100 years ago. And the other, projected behind him, stands closer to almost 9 feet tall.
Oh, biblically accurate angel.
No, not biblically accurate, but like certainly Renaissance artwork accurate angel. Feathered wings, alabaster skin, glowing golden eyes, a halo. Truly, like long flowing robes. Like the, absolute dictionary definition of angel. I believe the most common word in the mortal realm would be Deva, if I am not mistaken.
So I should know more about devas than I do. All my research went into deities. What do I know about devas?
Fair enough. Let
Which
me.
may also just be a more common thing than just a cleric would know.
They're like kind of high tier.
Like
How do
heralds of
I?
deities or like a
Yes.
plain resident.
So let me look at what the quick lore explanation is here. On some of the less DME things. Let's see.
My immediate
Uh,
thought is if we pick a fight, we're giga fucked.
Probably. I think even just from like the fact
Like
that you see
Strahd
them,
might be giga
Yeah.
fucked if he picked a fight.
probably not quite. So Deva are heralds and messengers. Um, they are a messenger of two types, though. Sometimes you need to send a letter, and other times you need to send a message
Mm.
at the point of a
Yeah.
sword, if
Do you get Raphael or
necessary.
do you get Michael?
Yes. Um, And we're not talking like a true archangel here, but we are talking a high order servant of a good aligned deity. The Deva are not, oh goodness, I cannot remember the name. They're not like the first in line. This is not your Michael, but a step down.
Okay. But
And
they do
only one.
originate from a deity's plane, like they are created
Yes.
on a deity's plane.
Well, there are astral deva that are not connected to deities, but they are good aligned and typically are, yes, molded by a deity to serve them.
After he does like this whole blurry image thing, though, I do a religion check on this.
Absolutely. Ooh. I think you get pretty much what I just told Ervier.
Nah.
Plus, I think there's an interesting thing that you might pick up because of your background. Ervier would know more of how to pray to contact such a creature. You know that sometimes one can be forcibly contacted. You do come from a cult that specializes in summoning things, after all, and while usually infernal was the order of the day, you know that certain gifts can only be requested or demanded from celestials. So I think you would know that Ervir might not know this. Deva are low enough on the celestial hierarchy to be compelled to appear before a summoner. But you would need a severely powerful mage to call them to you. This is about the peak of what someone summoning an angel or demon could possibly reach, though. Like, literally, this is the top of the list.
That definitely wouldn't come up in anything Irvir had access to or was forced to read.
Right. I don't think Ervir would know anything about compelling angelic figures.
No, that's not allowed in the library.
Yeah. But with a dismissive wave of his hand, that image fades. And he would step to the side of the room to a small table, pick up another jug of just seemingly cold, pure mountain spring water, not the bubbly stuff from town, and top everyone's glasses off. He does not pour for Vasilka, but he mimes doing so, and she reaches out to pick up the glass, and as she does so, seems to put too much pressure on it, and it cracks ever so slightly in her hand. But she still mimes the motion of drinking something and slightly jerkily puts it back down, and he places a hand on her wrist. That's okay. You'll get it right eventually. And with an absent wave of his hand, the glass mends itself back into shape.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, he does
Oh, yeah.
cantrips.
You didn't see a verbal or somatic component other than just a flick, though.
Flick of
Yeah,
the wrist.
spell-like ability.
But he would take a seat again. It seems, well, terribly uncouth after I committed such a faux pas. But I do have a request for all of you. It seems, well, our goals are in alignment. I do not treasure the thought of these small folk being under the heel of such an evil overlord. But I am afraid it is not in the Morning Lord's plan that I should be the one to strike down Strahd. Instead, I seek, well, his extermination at another's hand. Or in the worst of outcomes, and he looks over at Vasilka, and then over at Irina, distraction. It is well known in Barovia that Lord Strahd has been long looking for his lost lover. And though, well, looking down at Irina again with a slightly unnervingly wide grin, and then back to the group, there is certainly a strong resemblance to Tatiana already among you. I thought perhaps... And he smiles at his creation. Vasilka could perhaps fill that role with less disagreement. Unfortunately, though, a bride needs a beautiful wedding dress. And sadly, though my skill in flesh crafting has improved greatly over the long years, I feel such a thing need be made by a master. Perhaps if what I understand the situation is in Valaki is to play out in the way you intend, well, there might be several closets full of beautiful old clothes that might be raided. If you bring me such a thing, I would be very happy to aid you in your quest. And, well, if necessary, put you back on your feet, shall you find yourself off of them.
Free revives? I like the sound of that.
Do you?
Hell yeah.
He'll be half orc, half
Have you seen
dog.
what the revives around here look like?
Yo, man, could it be any worse than being an orc?
Fair.
Yes.
But he did also, for the record, he clarified that the reason some of them are, well, all of them are so messed up is
Lacking
they
on
were missing
parts.
bits and pieces of both
Yeah.
the physical body and the soul.
Missing flesh and soul, yeah.
Yes.
So he could probably do normal resurrection.
Yes. Um,
Dress seems like a fairly cheap cost to pay for support of a being of your caliber.
he smiles widely. Flattery will get you everywhere. Ah. And I understand that it has been foretold that you must come here. I'm afraid I'm not certain of the details of such things. Madame Eva is, well, beyond even my reach. But I could aid you in your quest there as well. For free, no less. All you must do is ask.
He's been fairly genuine so far, but I don't like how he said that. Very well. Would you aid us in locating the symbol here?
The symbol, you say? And he's like, attention snaps to you. He clearly did not know what it was you were looking for. And he looks down at his own neck and at the wall behind him. Certainly there are plenty symbols here. What was it you were told?
Jacobacci will look down the table and give like a nod of like, I consent to telling him if you guys do without saying it out loud. Because I have it right in front of me, I can read it at any moment if it's specifically a place where sickness and madness are bred, where children once cried, the treasure still lies.
Yes.
He thinks. Ah. Yes, yes. I think I have an idea of what you speak of. Please, remain here for a moment. I shall go fetch it. And he will stand and will walk around the table towards the stairs that lead up. And you hear footsteps and then a door open somewhere up above. And Vasilka just kind of like head cocked studies all of you. And you can see like her motions are not super smooth, but are surprisingly lifelike. There's probably a minute or two here where you can speak, a little more freely and take a look around the room if you would like. And I think Irina at least immediately would be like, this is, well, simultaneously horrifying and also somewhat of a relief.
I guess I'll kind of like also like mutter though like the information that I got from the religion check though, just so people are aware of it.
I'll say to Irina, better her than you, I guess.
Indeed. And Vasilka like looks between you as you talk and just mouths better and kind of cocks her head. She doesn't seem to be all there, as it were.
Never would have guessed.
Get the feeling
Rictavio.
this would not go as planned. I think it would piss him off.
Using the duplicate instead of using the actual Irina.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
Rictavio
imagine
will
it would
like
go
walk
something
over and look
like,
at the holy symbol. Go ahead.
"That is not my dear Tatiana. How dare you try to pull such chicanery on me?"
I think he would, like actually laugh at that. Truly an impressive impression. But I concur. He does appear to be several bales short of a haystack. Looks up at the holy symbol on the wall, and then he looks over at Vasilka. And he will step closer and lean in and like study her up close. And as she turns to look at him, you recognize this immediately as him faking, but just suddenly like a big smile and you really are a beautiful thing. And he will reach out gently and touch her cheek. And a big smile on her face, like, wide open eyes, all of her teeth showing. And he would pull his hand back and turn, immediately switching back to grouchy old man mode and stalk to the end of the table and flop down in the chair. Shame about not having a pulse, though.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
She's not undead. I can verify that.
She's not. But most living things also aren't quite hot enough to nearly scald you at a touch. My guess is Golem.
I don't know near enough about flesh crafting to comment too much there. Not really my wheelhouse. Usually the opposite.
Okay. Question. So, can I use Thermagory to make a sound of a pulse? Because it says it's tremors on the ground, though. But
No, it's you could make a very faint pulse with thaumaturgy, I would think.
I mean, it only lasts a minute. But that's
And
something
like,
to.
I guess it would depend how you would find the pulse, because for pulsing, you usually feel for a pulse,
Mm-hmm.
even though we associate a pulse with a heartbeat sound.
Yeah.
Although
No.
I understand where Relmer's coming from, because also, like, you would assume A, Strahd has hyper acute hearing as a vampire, and B, you would figure he can sense life at a distance somehow. Maybe it is hearing the heartbeat.
Yeah. Also, I mean, even like feeling and hearing, though. It
Same thing.
also
You can make faint
specifies
tremors. Yeah.
I can also do like I could do like 3 effects active at a time for it, so I can make it like get the feel and then the sound of it too. Because I think it would be 2 separate things, I believe. But I don't know how well that would work. But that's just an idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Von Richten, fingers
Not a
steepled
bad
deep in
idea if the rest of
conversation.
it goes well, but right now, she can't even talk.
Yeah, is there a way to do mind control?
They could train her.
Oh,
Like a
in what sense?
kind of just make somebody just like like a way to like control like actions from a distance, or is that like
There's not like, unless you find a ghost, you can't like usually directly control people, but you could charm them and give them instructions. You
Oh,
do know at least one mind mage, but if you're talking about charming her, if what Rictavio says is accurate, and she is a golem, constructs don't have a mind to control.
Ew. Okay.
They're about as sentient as an ooze, unfortunately.
Righty.
Um,
What if we like had an angel do a divine miracle?
Just make her think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down to get the dress. I don't know. I'm not much of a dress spotter
Y-
myself, but maybe
I
Irina
mean,
has a
I
good
was
eye.
like,
Seems easy enough.
I mean, I'll just grab a bunch. She ain't gonna be using them.
Narlik just like, yeah, pick a woman with a dress, hit her with club, take dress, problem
Take dress.
solved.
The
Easy.
Berger Master's gonna be out of a house, and Lady Wachter to follow suit after. So you gotta pick the litter.
I mean, she always, Lady Walker always. That's what. Were you talking about the Baron's house, or were you talking about Walker when you mentioned that? Because Walker was the first thing that came to my mind.
It could be both.
Could be both. The
Was
Baron
it-
does have a wife. You've seen the
Yeah.
Baron's wife. I've never spoken to her or heard her speak, but she does exist.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was at the festival.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I don't see a harm in attempting to help. Worst comes to worst, if his plan goes awry, maybe he'll be driven to assist us more directly.
Maybe other support we can ask for in the future as well. Also, he may know something about counter divination.
That is a good point.
Also, we're probably safe from hags here. I doubt they would fuck around with such a strong divine aura nearby.
That is an interesting point. I can't do the gravel, it's too dry here. I do wonder though, is Irina safe here?
No.
Wouldn't want an attempt at scavenging any spare parts.
Well, we could still
We
take.
could politely ask. We could ask him not to.
What if he says no? We're not really going to be able to do anything about that. So we should let that sleeping dog lie and be on our way.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, well, we could
I
always
already
just
have. I already have night terror, so it's like whatever. What's
we
I already wake up screaming. What are a few more nightmares?
we could always tell him we're in a hurry to get his dress.
I mean, we're
Got a
not
guy.
lying.
Got a guy. He's got work soon.
If nothing else, it is worth noting, Irvir, I think you can feel this is not like hallowed ground as per the spell, but like his presence hallows this place.
Yeah, that's kind of what I guessed. If he can shoot holy beams into my head.
Uh-huh.
I would normally have a large problem with everything he's doing here, but it might be the best option given the circumstances for how he's managed to bring these people back. If souls are truly trapped here and can't move on, and they're stuck in everlasting torment for over a century, maybe this is better than that. I don't know.
It is truly a bad situation either way. There's no doubt. But I can see a twisted sort of logic to what he's doing. I still think he's nuttier than a pound cake, but there is some sense to it. Yes, better alive than dead, and yes, sure, there are some construction issues, but, well, the teachings are to give each and every one that you can a healthy, happy life, and he's attempting it. I just don't understand how he can't see the faults as, well, as severe as they are. Happy and healthy doesn't usually include screaming and shrieking.
Now, those would be the earlier experiments, I assume. And if my timing is correct, it would take about 150 years of being dead before you're reincarnated as a blank slate soul.
Takes time for the filth to wash off.
And much like how we've started to guess how some people may be reincarnated souls, I can almost with near 100% certainty say that Markovia and Androl were definitely the same soul.
I think that gets a wide-eyed head turn from Irina, since those are two pretty important religious figures in her life. Quite the revelation. But it does make a strange sort of sense. A lot of points in their lives certainly mirror each other. She shakes her head.
But as I just mentioned, the sort of blank slate thing, that may be the same soul, but you could almost think of that as more like a currency for life. It doesn't necessarily make you the same person.
At that, I think there's a bit of obvious relief on her face. And then
Irina
kind
is
of
certainly not Tatiana. She was her own person, as is Irina.
Hold up, is that fucking Ralph?
and yet it is, well, she shakes her head.
Showing you a picture of the next love is like.
That is encouraging, but it
Yep.
is also concerning that there is some truth to what he believes then. In a twisted way, though I may not be, maybe I once was?
Not you, someone else.
She shakes her head. Difficult to think of it that way, even if I know you're right.
But you do think, therefore you are.
Bam.
I don't think, therefore I ain't. Pop. Um, but yeah, it looks like Octavia's about to say something, but you hear footsteps coming down the stairs. And the abbot returns to the room and will take a seat. I'm gonna need to find this actual thing. Sorry, one second. There are so many cluttered old rooms that we haven't taken the time to fully clear out. You see, we don't use much of the old wing. But with your direction, well, I think it's possible I found what you were looking for. And yes, he produces a particularly beautiful silver and ruby holy symbol. It's in the picture or the image of a sunburst and hangs on a gilded chain.
Mm,
Um,
some bling.
this, well, quite a long time ago, if I'm not mistaken, was an important treasure to one that may have been a progenitor to those, well, lovely little folk that live in Valaki these days. It is known as the holy symbol of Ravenkind. And he would,
A sunburst?
yes, set it on the table and slide it across to you. Perhaps if you are to spend some time in communion with it, it might tell you more. And I will give that to you in a moment, but I don't want you reading the description quite yet. But yes, as you kind of pick it up and look at it, Irina just kind of mutters, I think I've seen drawings of that in some of the old history books. Thought it was lost. Um, 1 second. And yeah, though the abbot has returned to the room already, as he kind of watches you study it, you hear another set of footsteps up above and then starting to come down the little stairway, and he turns over to look at Rictavio. I thought, well, it would be terrible of me to not attempt to mend bridges while I had the opportunity in my lap. So I told another guest of mine that there were visitors for dinner. I do hope you don't mind. And Rictavio quirks, or Von Richten quirks an eyebrow, but as he looks to the stairs, and you all hear, the footsteps are uneven. There's a step and then a heavy thump. A step and then a heavier thump. And in fact, as you see feet first come down the stairs, there's one boot and one beautiful clockwork prosthetic. And a woman walks down the stairs. And Rictavio looks like he's seen a ghost as he just kind of scoots his chair
Merelda.
back slightly. Relda. And she looks at him down her nose and goes, you, with a bit of a sneer. And and she cuts him off. I don't want to hear it. You, I have no use for. But perhaps the rest of you, we may have a deal to make. And I will leave us there for this week.
Cool.
Oh, big old wood foot,
Metal.
Yeah.
and then a slick foot.
Yeah.
Well, the one foot
Yeah,
looks
it's
like a Trent type of deal.
so it's like brass and all sorts of like elaborate clockwork.
Should go.
But yeah, I
Good.
will also give you the Actual holy symbol. Again, your characters will not know what it says until you do some identifying. But this, yeah, you're looking for important things to turn the tide a bit. Here you go.
Fancy.
So pretty. Oh, wondrous item.
Uh-huh.
Legendary.
Legendary is the important part there.
Damn, cleric or paladin of good alignment. Imagine if I was lawful neutral.
It's got 10 charges. Hold a vampire.
Just throw this shit away.
Yeah, can you just like throw it like a ninja star? It looks pretty sharp.
Dude, get a retractable chain on that bitch, dude.
Turn undead. That's pretty cool.
Oh, then sunlight as an action. You
They have
expend 5 charges.
disadvantage at the fucking save. That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then sunlight, of course, because I mean, vampires. That's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Thing's big pimping.
Recharges at dawn.
So
Cool.
10 charges by default and recharges a d6 plus 4 at every dawn. So it's not guaranteed to recharge everything.
Thank God we have a cleric or a paladin of good alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just saying, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a
there
small
are-
party size, it's very possible you just cannot use this.
Uh-huh. There is another thing that Mike's aware of that I'm not going to clarify on, that they were very lucky they had somebody who was kind of suitable to wield it. But there are multiple things in here. If you don't have the right alignment, you get your legendary treasures and cannot make use of them.
Damn, 5 charges for that shit.
I mean, it's pretty good fucking shit to be.
Yeah, the fact that it specifies that it's sunlight.
I've always kind of, I mean, I guess you could be like chaotic good, but I've always kind of put Yakobachi more of a lawful evil kind of category. I mean, he has rules, but it doesn't necessarily align with, you know, normal society.
That's the thing, like, I think lawful evil gets a bad rap, in terms of, like, being playable with a normal party. I think a lot of honorable thieves can be lawful evil. I
Yeah.
think Ayakobachi makes sense to me as lawful evil, but still, like, able to exist in society.
Right? Doesn't
It's
agree
very
with it,
easy
but
to
he
be
knows
selfish
he's got to
and just
survive.
say, like, this is in my best interest to fit in with society for the most part, but I'm out for me.
Right.
Right.
I'm not going to get out of here without the help of the.
I always thought something like that would be more of a neutral thing than an evil.
Like, oh, we've
Well, he
subdued
does-
somebody. I'm just going to pierce them in the heart real quick because I don't like being followed or having someone with a vendetta against me. You just killed someone. That's murder.
Yeah.
That's evil. As opposed to, I'm going to tie them up and bring them to the constable.
Right.
Right.
More like I'm not gonna tie him up to the constable. I'm gonna let him loose into the woods with one weapon, and I'm gonna hunt them. And then I'm gonna
Right.
get 'em
Which
back.
is
Yeah, that's just murder with
But
extra steps.
if they don't like do it, then I'm not gonna kill them because it's like it's not fun unless it's a hunt. There's rules to it,
Right.
you know. Or they're trying to kill me.
And also, you've talked about it too, like, though you have not said no women or children, you have said no women or children unless they are the target.
Right. Or like
Because
they're
you
attacking
have
us.
to leave some alive in
Right.
order to have another generation to
Right.
hunt.